Hi, welcome. Welcome at this session about data-driven supply chains. And happy to be here today at the Dutch Blockchain Week. Always exciting, to be honest. And today we're going to talk with you about blockchain, supply chain, logistics, and so on. And this session will be a combination of information on current supply chain related projects, the Spark Living Lab, Blockstart, fun, a quiz, and how companies can convert data into value. So that's the agenda for this webinar today. My name is Victor van der Hulst. I'm the program manager of Spark Living Lab and currently working at Windesheim University of Applied Sciences. I have a background in IT, project management, software development, and blockchain, of course. And I'm very glad that I have Klara and Roelof joining me today in this talk, and they will introduce themselves later. If you have any questions during this talk, you can always use the Q&A, of course, in Zoom. And let me start with this slide. And maybe you have seen it before, because it shows the three main flows that are becoming more integrated and show how supply chains are moving towards more digital supply networks. And this is accelerated by emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and so on. And of course, blockchain. So we perceive these flows integrate through, let's say, digitization on a digital infrastructure. And we believe that such an infrastructure should be open by design and support the transition towards a more sustainable and maybe circular economy. And that's very relevant at the moment because we have very ambitious goals to achieve in supply chain and logistics these days, especially in the Netherlands. So we have to collaborate more effectively. And talking about collaboration, it's all about data sharing, of course, better data sharing amongst stakeholders in supply chains. So that was the reason to start the Spark Living Lab project a year ago. To explore the application of data sharing technologies, blockchain, in supply chain and logistics. And why blockchain? As you know, an open and distributed ledger that can record transactions between parties efficiently and in a, let's say, verifiable and permanent way. So it enables collaboration across competitive and untrusted supply chain participants to improve collective supply chain performance. And you can see it as a tissue that enables interconnections between various nodes of a supply network. So that's the reason why we are researching this. And we are also contributing to solving the more fundamental challenges with two PhD students working on their research. Building a community of interested stakeholders. And we also discovered that it's actually quite hard to attract companies, especially SMEs, to join the project because they are not aware of the relevance nor the impact of these technologies. So hence we are working on a demonstrator, a game, to actually show how a supply chain can benefit from embracing blockchain technology. And of course, if you can imagine, a big challenge, technical challenge, is the gap between the physical and the digital world. So we also investigate how to transform goods into smart assets. So by creating interfaces between these two worlds, where we also have to deal with the possibility, of course, of abnormal data as a result of, for example, a broken sensor. So that's one of the research streams we are working on. And due to Corona, we have to postpone the establishment of a couple of physical hubs. And last week, we were very pleased that we won the Computable Award with our project, with the Spark Living Lab. So we are a little bit disappointed we are not nominated for the Dutch Blockchain Award, which will be presented tomorrow, I think, but that's a joke, of course. We're not doing this project alone. This is powered by an, let's say, experienced consortium. And many of those companies will be familiar to you, I think. And it's part of a research project, Sustainable Living Labs, co-financed by NWO, Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, and so on. So what did we do? We started by identifying key challenges within supply chain management by simply interviewing various companies and conducting desk research. And this resulted in the following key challenges that addresses data sharing among supply chain participants. So let me briefly touch upon them. So first of all, the logistics finance process integration. This is really a core issue, usually related to reconciliations of logistics documents into the financial processes. So errors and exceptions in purchase to pay, order to cash processes result in extra time and resources. And especially with the sometimes massive amounts of paperwork used in logistics. So the idea is here, having a single source of truth for logistics documents greatly reduces the need for manual reconciliations, and it opens a way towards more supply chain and finance solution or automated payments. The next one is track and trace. It's you can say the holy grail of the logistics industry. Still difficult to achieve within specific context. For example, intercontinental shipping. And you always have to keep in mind that information might not be reliable, of course. So also here, connecting different oracles, data sources together could provide reliable and timely information, which allows companies to improve their logistics processes, thanks to accurate forecasting and timely interventions. The third one, access to credit for logistics companies, and especially the smaller logistics companies. They find it very hard to access credit. So financial institutions usually lack reliable information to assess short-term credit standing. So again, safely sharing critical information, for example, an ECMR, a transportation document, will significantly reduce the level of information needed by a financer. That could also unlock, again, supply chain finance solutions. And the last one, the material passports. And they describe the characteristics of materials in products, facilitating recovery. But currently, companies lack a reliable set of information to stimulate reuse of materials and products. So we are a little bit stuck in the take, make, dispose model. And blockchain could ensure a secure, immutable trace of each material passport and provide the needed information. And it also unlocks a more circular economy business model. So next, we organized several ideation workshops with companies to collect relevant use cases to analyze, develop, and test within the project that relate to these challenges. And in the first rounds, almost 6-7 months ago, we selected the following 3 use cases. First of all, trade trust, which is an electronic bill of lading. And that is a combination of the aforementioned logistics finance process integration and track and trace. And we are working on it with our partner BlockLab, together with the Dutch Blockchain Coalition, the Two Tokens Foundation, and the Port of Rotterdam. The second one is Blockstart. It's about digitizing certificates used in agri-food chains, in this case from seed potatoes to French fries. A good example of a material passport that can be extended with track and trace options too. And currently, companies lack transparency in the current state of issued certificates. And checking can be time consuming, especially when you work with many suppliers, as you can imagine, I think. The third one is about conditioned goods. So sharing, for example, temperature data across the chain to monitor and manage service level agreements immediately. A combination of track and trace and logistics finance process integration. To put it simple, connect the siloed databases along the chain to get real-time insights in the current temperature of a good in stock and transit. And as you can see, various companies are involved in these use cases. And although we started to work on the last two use cases just a couple of months ago, I'd like to share our first preliminary outcomes and learnings with you. And first of all, it's actually hard to build ecosystems around these kind of use cases. Although blockchain solves the trust issue, it still requires a level of trust between the companies to get it started. At least they have to convince other necessary partners of the benefits of blockchain. And they should probably remodel their way of working and evaluate their current business model. Do you actually want to be a technology pioneer, for example? So incentives are needed. Without incentives, companies won't move. And then it's almost impossible to get it off the ground. And technology, especially blockchain, and to some extent IoT and AI, it isn't well understood either by companies in logistics. So we still have to create awareness and interest for more data-driven logistics, and also clarify that blockchain is not the solution for all data management problems in the chain. So once we started exploring these opportunities with supply chain stakeholders, we find out that connecting the various data silos require at least standardization and interoperability. This is, for example, one of the lessons learned from the electronic bill of lading case. And transparency, it sounds great, but what do we do with privacy? So most of the companies won't share confidential information, orders, volumes, maybe provenance, with the entire network. So how can we guarantee the trustworthiness of information without revealing the confidential elements? Or how can we build new business models around it? That's very relevant to spark the adoption of blockchain. And of course, governance, risk, and compliance is very complicated in these kind of solutions, applications. You could also say, when answering all these answers and we end up with a private blockchain, does it actually make sense? So many initiatives right now in the markets. I'm not gonna talk about all these initiatives, but just have a look at it. And if some of them are new to you, please have a look at it. Just Google on them. Very much initiatives on logistics finance process integration, track and trace, the product passport, and of course, access to credit for logistics companies. And talking about the last one, access to credit, there's a direct relation, in my opinion, with the new hype or trend, whatever, decentralized finance. Because we are talking about programmable money with strings attached, so to say. Especially when we are looking at central bank digital currencies. Not there, but maybe soon. I'm almost there. I'd like to highlight two upcoming events related to the Spark Living Lab projects. The first is on the 10th of December. Spark Living Lab live interview with a company named RTI Blockchain, working on the administration of load carriers. And the 27th of January, our big Spark Live event, where we will share our results on the use cases we are working on, show solutions, and of course gather new ideas. So it's open to the public. So if you are interested, you can register now on our website. And then if you are interested, you can always follow us, of course, on LinkedIn, or just contact me and let's talk. Thank you so far. I don't see any question in the chat, which means I will hand it over to Klara for the second part of this webinar. Klara, I'm going to give you control. Sorry.
I have to tick then, probably.
You have control now?
Okay, I hope I do. Otherwise, I will ask you to change the slides.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the introduction, Victor. My name is Klara Paardenkooper. I'm a senior researcher and lecturer at the Rotterdam University of Applied Sciences. And I have had really a lot of talks about, oh, I do have a control.
That's me, sorry. No, that's me, sorry.
Okay, no problem. But I have to click away something, so I hope nothing weird will happen. Okay, so I have had a lot of presentations about blockchain already, and normally we would be discussing the Kshetri criteria, what are the benefits of blockchain. But I thought let's do now something completely different. This is a kind of playful thing, and I hope that you realize that it's not hard science, but I thought I would like to give a presentation about what does blockchain mean for the world. So for this, I have, let's see whether the control works. No, it doesn't. Victor, could you please click to the next slide? Yes, so I had a look at the 10 most critical problems in the world according to the millennials, and this information comes from the website of the World Economic Forum. And it turns out that the people that are most worried about is climate change, destruction of nature, large-scale conflicts, wars, inequality of income, discrimination, poverty, religious conflicts, government accountability and transparency, food and water security, lack of education, safety, security, well-being, lack of economic opportunity, unemployment. I'm sorry for spoiling your morning with this bad news, but basically, probably you recognize the problems in the world. So we would like to do a little quiz, and I would like to ask your cooperation so that you get a chance to say what you think about this. So my question is, for how many of these problems do you think that there is an existing blockchain solution? Of course, only on a small scale. So I am very curious about your opinion. I've done some research, so I have an idea how many. So I would like to ask you now, how many do you think that there is a solution for, already existing solution for provided by blockchain? Of course, on a small scale, because if there was a solution for all these problems, they would have been solved already. So the floor is yours. Please tell me, what do you think? Unfortunately, I cannot vote, so I'm waiting for the participants to vote. Do we have any results, Victor?
Yes, we have. Can you see the results? Share
no,
results. Sorry, I have to share them.
6 or less, 100%. Oh, guys, you completely agree with each other. Actually, what I think that the answer is I have found for 8 of them a solution. So I hope that at the end of this presentation, you will be more optimistic. So now we know you think 6 or less. I think 8. The correct answer is 8. But I won't tell you which ones. So now we'll go piece by piece along it. So Victor, the first thing is climate change, destruction of nature. Do you think that there is an existing blockchain solution for this on a small scale? I'm curious about your opinion. Do you think blockchain is going to solve climate issues, or is it solving it already? Unfortunately, I cannot vote, so it has to come from you. Do we have results, Victor?
Yes, we have.
No, you are not very optimistic, are you? So if you just do one more click, then this is a film. I have collected movies from YouTube. there were actually a lot of them about, especially about sustainability and climate change. And this is a movie. I won't show you the movies because there are a lot of them and they are quite long. So then we will be out of time. But believe me, they exist. Behind this this movie, there is a switch. This farmer has a rice field in Thailand, and he is trying to do precision agriculture. And he is recording the data of his harvest, and he is sharing this data with other farmers in order that they can also optimize their supply chain. So the business model of this would be that everybody benefits from the fact that they can control the circumstances according to how the climate works, and it also works for food security. He's a very enthusiastic farmer from Thailand. It's really inspired me, like these people do exist. He's actually quite a small farmer, but he's very innovative. And there are really a lot of initiatives like this, especially in Africa, to control already the results of climate change, but also to prevent further climate change. So I would say you are very pessimistic people. Maybe it's an idea to have a look at blockchain, which solutions already exist. Victor, can we go to the next slide, please? Large-scale conflicts and wars. Do you think that there is an existing blockchain solution for this problem on a small scale, of course, because these problems are not solved? Please, I would like to have your opinion. Yes or no? Has anybody of you seen an application which will stop wars? I wish. The results, Victor. Yes, no, I absolutely agree with you. There is no such a solution yet, at least none that we would know about. However, please remember that one of the basic characteristics of blockchain is that it enhances trust. So if you think very carefully, basically the reason for wars is the lack of trust and cooperation, and instead of that we get conflict. So just imagine that we can create more trust in the world, then probably conflicts would decrease. At least that's what I think. That's my private opinion. I looked very hard for a case at internet for this application, but I couldn't find it. So can we move now to the next slide? Inequality of income and discrimination. Do you think that there is an existing blockchain application that would help this problem on a small scale? Could you please answer this? Inequality, growing inequality is a large global problem. Probably everybody knows that. So what do you think? Can we change that with blockchain? Yes. Okay, I didn't expect this. I really love the idea that you are optimistic about this. So Victor, if you could just push one more button, then the movie will come. Yes, this is a very nice application. It's Bext. It is for coffee farmers in poor countries. Mostly coffee farmers are very small farmers. And in the supply chain, there is a very strong power distribution, which means that the parties at the top, they have a lot of bargaining power, and they can reap more benefits from the supply chains than the parties below. So what happens is that that coffee farmers go to the market and they show what kind of coffee they have. And if the merchant comes and he said, "Oh, I don't like this coffee. This is not really very good, so I will give you a very low price." The owner of Bext has developed an application with which you take a picture of the coffee and it will say what the market price is. So in this case, the merchants cannot pressure the small farmers to sell it for cheaper because they have approved that their coffee is worth more. That would mean that in the supply chain, there would be a more equal distribution of value and money, which could really change the world. And there are a lot of these applications. This is actually one of the things where the more applications are there. There are also cases for fashion, to make the supply chain transparent in order to the producer in low salaries countries like India and Bangladesh could get more money for what they are making, and that actually the products are becoming cheaper, from which everybody benefits. So this is a very positive application, and there is a lot of future in it. Victor, can we move to the next problem? The next problem is poverty. Do you think that there is an existing solution that would work against poverty? Of course, on a small scale still, because there is poverty. A blockchain-based solution. I'm curious about your meaning. Of course, this is also a little bit related to the previous. Now let's see what you think about this. Yes, you're also very optimistic about it. Of course, it was a bit related to the previous, so indeed that is the case. I will show you a case. This doesn't look very positive, probably, but some very smart people have thought about how to solve the plastic solution of nature together with poverty. So if poor people collect plastic and they deliver it to a certain collection place, then they get credits for it. And the credits are registered on the blockchain so that there could be no cheating with it. And they can exchange it for food or shelter or something. And the idea was that it would solve the environment of pollution and poverty on a small scale, of course, because these people are not going to get rich from it, but at least they can get something to eat or drink, or they can get shelter. And there are really a lot of possibilities for this. I have chosen this because I think that was the one that impressed me most. So very good, very positive solution. So if we move to number 5, it will be religious conflicts. Oh, sorry, unfortunately the answer is there already. But I'm curious, maybe some of you still think that we can solve religious conflicts with this? Somebody might know. Counterexample. Does religion have to do with trust? Is there trust between different religions? Maybe you are more optimistic than I am. Maybe you know some cases. Let's have a look at the results. No, you agree with me? Yes, I think so too. Okay, if we move to the next slide, government accountability and transparency. Do you think that there is an existing blockchain solution for this problem on a small scale, of course? Curious about what you think. Government accountability and transparency. Transparency, yes, I completely agree with you. I don't know whether you are familiar with this case, but actually Lithuania is completely digitalized. It's a very small country from the former Soviet Union, and they have put their voting system online, and they also have a blockchain system for different applications. Now, you can imagine that if you talk about accountability and transparency, that it mostly has to do with fraud and bribing people. So you can imagine this is a former Russian republic. So you can imagine that that bribery and corruption was there large scale. So they just eliminated it by digitalizing the whole government. I've actually read an article about which had the research question, can blockchain replace the government? It was actually written by a member of the Italian parliament. And her answer to this was not yet. Basically, the transactions that we are doing with the government are all possible to be put into smart contracts, but of course there are a lot of problems with it. I'm very curious about this. I would like to go to, oh sorry, it's Estonia. I always mix them up. So I would like to go very much to see how it works there, what the society is like, just to check how does it work to live in a digital society. Can we move now to number 7? Food and water security. What do you think? Do you think that there is an existing blockchain application to solve this problem? On a small scale, of course, but these are actually 2 problems. Food and water security. What do you think? Let's see the results. Yes, the answer is yes. You agree on this? Absolutely. I have selected one case, and this is actually of a very big company. It's Walmart. You probably know that some time ago there was a big scandal with Walmart because they had polluted pork in cans, And this was really an enormous scandal. And the problem was that they couldn't retrace which batch of meat it was. So really tons and tons and tons of food was thrown away just because of the security. They didn't know where the viruses were in which cans. So then Walmart really got very motivated to make his food supply chain sure. And right now, most of their products can be traced through a system via blockchain where they come from as an origin. And this way, if it turns out that there is contaminated food, then they don't have to throw away all of it. Of course, it reduces the waste of food greatly, which will contribute to food security. There are also cases of water security. What I chose in this case for food security thing, this is actually the most used application of blockchain. So I will have a presentation later on, and I will come back to this. This is really huge. This really reaps the benefits of blockchain for traceability and transparency. So let's get to word problem number 8. The lack of education. Do you think that there are solutions for this problem on a small scale? I'm curious about your answers. You know, if you don't give fish to people, you teach them how to fish. So that would mean that really the world will get a better place. Curious about your opinion. So, Victor, what do the people think? Yes. Okay. Let's see what the next slide is. There are solutions for this, but I must say this was kind of disappointing for me, because I was really hoping that there would be solutions to spread education at poor areas. However, these solutions mentioned in this film are mostly related to the organization of the existing education system. So I kind of cheated, because this is going to be the third one. So there were 2 ones where were no solution. I'm not really satisfied with this solution. I think that there is a lot more possibility. And so one of the applications that I have found is making combined universities, because with blockchain you can register who has taken which course, which he or she paid for from the whole world. It would be possible to put together your own academic curriculum by choosing different courses from different universities, and this will bring also education closer to people. Maybe it's not necessary to be there physically where the education takes place. So I think there is major possibility in this one. I was not really happy with this one, but it does exist. So what about problem 9? Safety, security, and well-being. Do you think that there is an existing blockchain solution for this problem on a small scale? This one is quite tricky, because it's really a huge subject, and it also covers some of the previous questions. So I'm very curious what you think about this one. So what do people think? Yes, it is also quite clear, of course, because we have had 2 already which doesn't work. So I have chosen this one. This is related to well-being, to health, remote patient monitoring. That would mean that you don't need to move, if you have good sensor technology and communication, that you don't need to move patients to hospitals to monitor them. That was really release the strain on healthcare, because you know that people are getting older and there are more health solutions. So the pressure on healthcare is increasing. But of course, health is a very important part of our well-being. So if you can provide care in a different way, then of course that's very beneficial. So now the question is, why do you need blockchain for this? Well, of course, because the data that needs to be communicated is really very confidential. So this way you can make sure that it's validated, and at the same time it's communicated in a way that other people cannot access it. So it has to do mostly with the security of the distribution of information. And now we have arrived to our last word problem. According to millennials, it's a lack of economic opportunity and unemployment. So what do you think about this one? I think this one is not so hard. Still, I want to know what you think. Economic opportunity, unemployment. I was really Googling a very long time for this one. You think no? Okay, well, it's coherent with what you said, that it would be less than 6 of the applications. But the one I looked very hard for this, and actually I found a lot of results, but most of the results were talk shows of not really reliable people, at least stuff that I couldn't really show you. So I'm showing you this one. This is kind of a cheeky solution because it turns out where we say that blockchain is cutting out the middleman, but at the same time, blockchain is the new middleman, what is going to sit between the two parties to make it reliable. So it turns out that there is an enormous demand at the job market for people knowing blockchain technology. And it turns out that you don't really have to know a lot about it to find a good job. So this is a CNBC news item where they say that companies are just craving people who know anything about blockchain because they are interested in it and that they don't know how to find talent. So I think that there are other possibilities too, because it's very easy to start a business when you can do your transactions with smart contract, because it's really reduces the cost that you need to make to create a company. But if it doesn't work for you, you can still work as a blockchain expert. So this was the 10th solution. I hope that your ideas about blockchain have broadened a bit, and that you are now a bit more optimistic about blockchain. But in case you are not, I would like to move to my last slide, which is let's research blockchain and change the world. If you check out this video, then you will see that this one summarizes a lot of blockchain possibilities, how they can change the world. I see really blockchain is something that that in 10 years time it would be so natural as the internet. Maybe you won't know that what you are using there is a blockchain behind. Just like, for example, if you have a look at Microsoft software, you think, okay, it's all Microsoft, but somewhere behind it there is Linux. Nobody knows, but our society largely runs on Linux, on internet, and probably in the future blockchain. So I would like to invite you to join us in this journey. And with this, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and for your answers.
Thank you, Klara. So move over to Roelof. Roelof, I will give you access to the slides and the floor is yours. Don't forget to start your camera.
Here we go. Hello, welcome. Sorry, I had a problem with the settings. My name is Roelof Cohlst. I work for Brightlands Smart Services Campus, and I'm we are the lead partner for the Blockstart project. Do I have the presentation?
No, you you ended it, but I'm still I'm working on it.
Excuse me.
One sec. There it is again.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't press the escape button, please.
Sorry for the confusion. And so I'm Roelof Cohlst. I work at Brightlands Smart Services Campus as a project lead partner on the Blockstart project. I have prepared some slides which I will use as a guideline, but my main goal is to invite you to learn more about the Blockstart project, and maybe if interested and if you fall into the categories, join our SME training program. I want to go to the next slide. Okay. Yes, now it works, I think. Yeah. To give an introduction on the Blockstart project, I would like to ask myself a couple of questions. So what is the Blockstart project? For whom is it? By who is it created and facilitated? Why are we doing it? How are we doing it? And when are we going to do it? I think when you look at the technical text here, I will read it one time out loud. The European SMEs are all facing similar hurdles when it comes to digital skills and adoption of new technologies. That was also what was talked about by Victor in his first nice presentation on the Spark project. Many do not have the resources to invest in research and development, so how can they make the most of blockchain technology? And that is where our Blockstart SME training program comes in. And one of the things that Victor talked about in his presentation was that technology isn't well understood, and that line caught my attention because that is the problem we as the Blockstart project want to solve for SMEs in the Northwest Europe region. We want to facilitate a free training program to increase awareness and understanding on how blockchain technologies work and will impact your sector and business, and give you the opportunity to ride that wave of blockchain innovation, even if you are an SME which doesn't have the capacities within itself to take part of this movement in blockchain technology. So that is our main goal. Whom are we reaching out to? That are all SMEs in the new Northwest Europe region, which includes the United Kingdom, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, big parts of France, Germany, and the Netherlands. Only the far north of the Netherlands isn't involved, but the rest of the Netherlands can join. It's a big area. It's home to 180 million people, so there should be SMEs who are willing to participate in this project, but we focus on 3 main sectors, which are healthcare, logistics, and agro-food. When you saw Victor's presentation and also the wonderful presentation of Klara, you will recognize that these 3 sectors always come back within the blockchain because they are lending themselves really great for blockchain innovation on a big scale, but also on a smaller scale for SMEs. Oh. Yes. So who are we? As you see, we are 9 partners from 5 countries. So it's Brightlands, our smart services campus located in Heerlen in the Netherlands, the University of Applied Sciences Windesheim, which Victor is representing today, OSNL, Chainpoint. These are all Dutch-based companies. Then we have in Germany, BioRegio Stern. We have Multitel in Belgium, Medicen in France, and we have the University of Surrey. So these are the 9 partners from 5 countries. But as you saw on the earlier slides, we also have a big network of transnational experts on the subject. So we represent a lot of knowledge and a big ecosystem, which you as an SME could use. Why is blockchain interesting for SMEs? Now, it's an upcoming technology. So as stated earlier, it's not yet understood by many SMEs. So SMEs are also vulnerable for risks and delayed invoices, cash flow, data security, errors in data, etc. They don't have the capacity to invest themselves. They don't have the resources to invest big time in research and development. But there is a huge potential, as also stated earlier. It can cut costs and risk by, for instance, tracking shipments across different organizations, the sharing of sensitive and maybe medical data between partners, and ensuring the quality and safety and origin of food. So not only as in the case of Walmart and IBM, the case of tracking in case of safety and quality, but also as stated in the coffee or in the clothing industry, that you can really show and follow the origin of the food to see if it's sustainable, etc. So there are a lot of nice applications for blockchain technology, also within SMEs. So this is the big goal of the project. We bringing Northwest Europe to the helm of EU blockchain innovation. So we want to create a very big SME partner network. We want to have a lot of SMEs adopting the technology. And these are quite big goals, which we stated as a project. We want to create 100 million turnover for these companies. We want to have 500 additional jobs within the next 5 years. So the dreams, and it's a moonshot, which we have created, but we have to start somewhere. And that is why, and I think I put it in writing on this page, but I think it's much more interesting to show the how based on this slide. So this is our SME Blockstart journey. It's our project is a free project. So in the first phase, voucher scheme 1, the anticipation phase, we will do free training up to €7,500 worth of per joining SME. And in that phase, we create a base of SMEs. Oh, yes. And we will give them a business training. So mainly on the topics, webinars and workshops on what is the return on investments, what is the total cost of ownership, feasibility studies, business models, etc. We will train blockchain basics. So we will we will create awareness and education in this free training program. And then we move forward to a blockchain advanced and sector specific use case study. So we then will start creating and selecting a group of SMEs in which we move to phase 2 in the voucher scheme to really make use cases and give technical introduction, integration, IoT and implementation training and coaching. So we will really bring those selected SMEs to a level where they really can introduce and commercialize blockchain technology within their company. So when we go to where are we now, when you look from the starting point of this timeline, we are now in the anticipation phase. So we are in this first voucher scheme, and this first voucher scheme exists of the SME training program. By the end of this training program, an organization should have a clear understanding of how relevant blockchain technology is to their business. We do that in several steps. We teach you about blockchain. We tell you how blockchain can help SMEs. So what are the challenges and opportunities? There are a lot of challenges and opportunities, as we saw in Klara's presentation and quiz. We will give business support program offering a range of trainings by consultation from blockchain experts. And we will give a series of business skill workshops to analyze the impact, feasibility, BMC tools, and design sprints. This is all a lot of technical talk, but what I really want to emphasize is that we are a free training program, which is now starting with the free training program of the basics. So if you are an SME and you want to ride that wave with us of blockchain technology, even when your company isn't that big, then I really invite you to check our website and to apply and even join. So our website at this moment is as stated on the screen. So you just Google Interreg Blockstart. That's the most easy way to find it. And you can apply. You can see if you fit in our description. So you are an SME, you are in the Northwest Europe region and working in the sectors, and you have a challenge. But please join and look at the website, join our movement, maybe even not as an applicant or as a SME who really actively takes part in the program, but our long-term goal is to have that ecosystem which gives out as much information, usable information for SMEs as possible. So in January, end of January or start of February, we will have a big hybrid event. So we will then also have other European projects about blockchain technology, all joining in one big event. And then we start creating that ecosystem. So we, as an SME, you will be able to, by our ecosystem, search for existing challenges and solutions. Maybe other companies are joining programs, and you can learn from that. So I really invite you to register or to look at our website, to follow the Blockstart project on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook, so we keep you up to speed on what we are doing, and maybe in the future you will have interest in our program. So thank you for your attention. Also thank you to Victor and Klara for the really nice presentations before me and giving me the opportunity to talk about the Blockstart project. Thank you.
Thank you, Roelof. And let's go back to Klara again. Klara, you have the controls now.
Let's check whether it works.
We are a little bit behind schedule.
Yes, I have it. Yes,
we have to speed up a little bit. Okay.
We've got the power. Okay. Now I would like to thank you very much, Roelof and Victor, for your talks, because I'm going to repeat a lot of what you have been saying, but maybe from a little bit different perspective. So what I would like to talk about now is what is our focus, because we had a project before this one. So I would like to talk about the analysis of the cases of the project before. I would like to present the present case that we are working on with Blockstart, which is actually the first case that we got. It's immediately a very good one. And I would like to show you some preliminary results about the present case. So before we started with the blockchain project, and now it's not moving, it's supposed to. No, I'm sorry, I lost the power. Thank you. No. Victor, could you please do it for me? Because somehow I had it, but I lost it.
I switched to the next slide. This is
oh, you
the
did?
right
I
one.
don't see it.
It's called focus with the 3 bullet points.
Oh yeah, right. Then maybe I did, but I just got confused. Sorry about this. So we are focusing on the added value of blockchain for SMEs. Which is what we have been talking up till now, especially what Roelof mentioned, and we have 20 completed projects. So now this is a different perspective than what my previous speakers have presented, because this is the demand from the market. Because these projects were done by students, and most of them have acquired the project themselves. So these are the projects, these are the topics on which the market obviously wants to have information. And right now we have one case running, and I will talk about that too. Let's see whether I can change the slide now. No, I can't. Victor, please help me. Okay, so we have had 20 cases, and I did a short analysis on them. And what you see back is the same thing that we have been hearing before, especially from Roelof, is that the food chain is the most important one, being followed by the maritime one, and then oil and gas industry. These were, of course, not SMEs, because in the oil and gas industry, most you don't have SMEs. But we were happy with any analysis yet, because the blockchain project is in a starting phase. We had one subject on fashion, which is also a very important case, especially about it because of the intransparency of the fashion and the unclarity about who is earning money on what. There was one general case that was a case when there was no specific topic attached to it. It was from the lectorate of Windesheim, so it was a kind of general inquiry, and we had one case on transport. If we can move to the next slide. That is the analysis of the goal, why the companies started the inquiry at all. You can see most of it is supply chain efficiency. So it's like, how can I optimize my supply chain? How can I use my data to communicate better and to create more value? The second one is a billing process, which is coming back to the presentation of Victor, that of course there is a very important finance solution here. You remember why blockchain started at the first place is because people thought that banks were just superfluous. So you see it back in the development of blockchain. Paperless office, of course, paperless solutions, the CMRs that and the bill of ladings that actually I had a student who was working on the bill of lading project, and he found out the juridical circumstances of it. Customer satisfaction, that's actually the fashion case. Sensor technology, how to use sensor technology to create value. Traceability, transparency, as you can see, that's the orange part. That's really the major thing, as we have seen already in the previous presentations. Business model, that's something curious, because it's for forwarders, because forwarders see that if the information flows are made more perfect, then their work is going to be superfluous. So especially forwarders who see themselves rightfully as a middleman are asking themselves how their business model can be made permanent. Procurement, that's the green side. There are major possibilities for procurement using blockchain. Companies lose really a lot of money on procurement because right now it's not really done in a very organized fashion, but it can be really improved. And especially here, there's a major case of trust. So the use of blockchain is here very relevant. And then for risks, that's a very special case, but I can't go very deep into it. It just let me just say that if you talk about insurances, then there is a major power issue there, and small parties mostly lose to the insurance companies, and they don't really have a lot of money to pay expensive lawyers, which big companies of course can. So it is very, very interesting case, but I won't go, because of the time, a lot deeper into it. So can we move to the next slide? So the results, so if you analyze them, actually I have to write a paper about this, so very excited about it, a general analysis of these papers. So what you can see, that food traceability is a major issue. It has been mentioned several times before. It's absolutely clear. What you see is that there is an inefficiency in the oil and gas industries, and that's very peculiar, because some time ago I went to an oil and gas company and I was trying to get an internship out of it for one of my students, but the guy said, you know, we don't care, because we have so much money. So what do you want to optimize here? You think if I have to spend 10,000 euros less, that I care? Well, the tables are turning right now because of sustainability. Oil and gas companies are looking for making their supply chain more efficient, because they feel the breath of sustainability in their neck. Maritime transport efficiency, of course, that's the same thing as deliver and or the stuff that Maersk is initiating, and or the different shipping companies. The bidding process efficiency, that's of course paperwork, less paperwork, and better information flows. That's the supply chain finance solutions and a business model of forwarders that I have mentioned before. And now I would like to connect this presentation to my previous presentation. So Victor, if you can push the button again. Then what you see is the relation with the global problems. So food traceability has to do with food and water security, safety and security. Oil and gas efficiency has to do with climate change. And maritime transport efficiency with climate change, because if you can make maritime transport more efficient, then we need to use a lot less fuels. And also, if you have clearer information about where you can get your materials or goods, then we can do some reshoring. The bidding process efficiency is, again, climate change, destruction of nature, because normally it requires a lot of paperwork, which we are going to eliminate. And the business model of forwarders, that would be about inequality, income, and discrimination, coming back to dividing the values and the profits, the benefits better between parties. So now you can see that this is actually very related to my first presentation. So I didn't want to say twice the same thing. So this way, maybe it is clear how these projects are contributing to global welfare. So if we can move to the next slide, then I would like to arrive to the concrete case. The present case that we have is with a chicken farmer called Nijkamp. And as you can see, this is taken from his website. He also has cows, but we are talking about the chicken issues and communication about animal welfare data. And I have chosen this site because you can see that this guy with whom we are working is really very, very, very innovative and visionary, because he also hosts the Stichting Boer en Data, to be the foundation for farmer and data. He really believes that he can do something with data. So now we get to the core of this whole presentation, which is in the next slide, which are the preliminary results. So the first thing that we have found out is to be able to reap the advantages of blockchain, a certain level of digital maturity is required. So now we have a very innovative guy who really cares about data. He has his stores full of sensors. So he really wants to reap the benefits of data. But we have conducted a digital scan in his company, and it turned out that in his maturity, you really need to make some steps to be able to make the next steps. So there are different digital scans available, and the scan that we did, he said that before you start playing with blockchain, you really have to get your data, different data sources and different systems allocated, well connected with each other, for which we are going to use RPA technology. So this is going to be the first advice of the students. And the reliable sensor data is a valuable source of added value, because it turns out this farmer has 1-star good chicken quality, life quality. So, so the authorities come there and they inspect, and they have to pay for that. So there are a lot of inspections, and the reason why they're inspecting them because they don't trust the farmer. But he has sensors everywhere, so he could just deliver, I mean, he could just deliver a film of his chickens real time. Then because everything is there. So that way you could reduce these costs. So if there is trust between the organization who is controlling and between the farmer, and just can give them real-time data, then you could just skip these costs. The changing the distribution of data can change the power relations in the supply chain. Well, obviously you have already heard about it, is that data is the new oil. That if you burn data, then you can earn money. And basically in the supply chains, the party who has the most information, who is in this case the slaughterhouse, has the most power. So what the farmers are trying to do is to generate data and share this data with each other that way that they can counteract the slaughterhouse. I was really shocked. I thought that the Netherlands is a very free economy, but the chicken market is just completely stuck and it's ruled by the slaughterhouses. And it's not only for the supply chain, because same goes for the fashion industry. Is that the big department stores are just completely controlling the market. And yes, no, this is my last line, so I will finish on time. But this is the most important stuff. Victor, please let me finish. So we have the same thing. We have a case with the cooled transport. There, the supermarkets are ruling the chain. So this way, with data, you could change the power balance within supply chains, which I have mentioned already, which would again make a more fair society where profits are distributed in a better scale. Sharing data between parties at the production level could increase their power. It also has to do with the fact with the controlled agriculture, just like with the rice that I have shown, is that the farmer wants to do a research that, you know, if you change one variable, for example, temperature of the stalls, then chickens feel better and they grow faster. And he also wants to share this data with his competitors, because together they can be stronger against the power of the slaughterhouse. And for all this, you need trust, also between the competitors. And blockchain, of course, we know it generates trust. So blockchain is the right solution for this. We are looking forward to the final answers to the questions, which the students are working on together with me. So maybe if you join one of our other seminars later, then you can hear more about the results. But this is a very promising case, and it makes me very enthusiastic. And I think that SMEs just go for it, because all this knowledge comes to the farmer, because he takes expertise from the project. So join the Blockstart project if you are not convinced up till now. I hope that I managed to convince you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Klara. Very interesting. And this was indeed the last slide of our webinar this morning. We run a little bit out of time. Thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of the Dutch Blockchain Week, of course. And if you are interested in one of our projects, please contact us directly and join. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.